Get a shot up. This is for the win.
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward.
All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports.
Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to Big D Energy. I'm Terry Foster, and we're at Feldman Chevrolet and all kinds of cars. Here I'm joined by Lindsey Hunter. What's up?
What's up, man?
You know what I'm going to try to do with you?
What's that?
I'm going to make him smile, but when you really smile, those dimples start to show. So I'm going to try to do that to you.
All right, gotcha.
But you know, we're going to have to rap about women's basketball of other things.
Man.
Because of this.
Hey.
Yeah.
Can't see me.
I guess Twitter went nuts because the Bayou Barbie.
That's the good name.
That's her nickname. Bayou Barbie did this to Caitlin Clark. And so now she's classless. Caitlin Clark did it, and it was cool. It's competitive spirit. She's doing her thing. But here's the thing about sports. If you do something in sports, it's going to come back. If you do like this and you win a game, at some point you're going to lose. And somebody's going to come up to you and do the same thing. Caitlin Clark deserved what she got.
It's cool when you do it. It's a problem when I do it.
Right. Yeah, somebody just made a song about
exactly.
that. Right. So
I hope we don't get in trouble for that. But anyway.
No, we're going to get in trouble today because I'm going to tell you, here's what some Caucasians do.
Uh-huh.
They do something that's out of line.
Right.
And then when somebody black does it, you did it for too long.
Oh.
You did it the wrong time.
Ooh.
You were too demonstrative when you did it.
Ouch.
So it was the wrong thing to do.
Mm.
But when I did it at the exact right moment, the exact right time. So it was cool.
Well, my biggest problem with it is Caitlin was embraced for her demonstrative actions throughout the season, not just the playoff, not just the tournament, but the season.
The whole
season.
Because
they embraced it, and they made I think they even did a special about her trash talking.
Right.
Like, this is who she is, and, oh, man, her competitive edge and her competitive nature. And
here's the thing that's lost. She taunted some players from who they beat. Oh, from South Carolina. Because they couldn't shoot a three.
Oh, my goodness. She stood there. She was standing. First of all, you shouldn't be playing basketball if you can't step up to the free throw line and shoot a jump shot when you're wide open. That's another story for another day. Anyway.
But you don't have to do like this, like.
No, but not only that, she waved the young lady off like, I'm not even going to guard you.
Right.
She had the ball and she turned her head and waved her off like, whatever, you can't play.
Right.
I was like, oh, come on, man. Come on now. Yeah, to me, and that's fine if that's what you want to do.
Sure.
If you want to do that, but do not be upset when the shoe is on the other foot. I even take this back to watching Steph Curry with all his antics on the court.
Right.
When he shoots and he starts to dance and all that. So remember when Chris Paul hit the shot and got in his face and started, although, I'm not a Chris Paul, I love Chris Paul, but he got his own issues. But when he went and flaunted and danced in front of Steph was like, hey, I got to be able to take it.
He did. That's true.
He stood there, like, if I can dance when I'm winning, I got to be able to take it when somebody else does it to me. And that's the fact of the matter. Media, Caitlin, team, everybody, you got to be able to take what she's been dishing out.
Right. And I think the lesson in this also is athletes need to ignore Twitter. Twitter is not the real world. People just get on Twitter and
some people think it is.
I know, but they're ignorant. They talk about stuff they don't know about. And so my whole thing is Angel and Caitlin have a good relationship. Right. Yeah, in the heat of the moment, you talk trash. You might say you don't like each other, but the only people who've got a problem with this are people on Twitter and me and people outside of their relationship. Right. And a lot of times people now they're saying, well, there's going to be a big rivalry between these two. No, it's not. one plays in the SEC, the other plays in the Big Ten. They may never play against each other again.
Right.
And even if they did, it will be all forgotten.
Yeah.
And I learned this lesson when I used to cover boxing in Las Vegas. I would write about how this boxer hates the other and he wants to kill him and everything. After the matches in boxing, they have these receptions.
Right.
And they be like, hey, man, that was kicked your ass, but, man, you did good today. And then, can we do this again?
Exactly.
They be boys.
Exactly. Well, of course, boxing is the build-up.
Right.
It's the antics before the fight. We got to make everybody think we hate each other. Mm-hmm. So now people are choosing sides, and one guy wants to be the villain. Floyd Mayweather, always the villain. So and that makes for good drama.
Right.
Because I don't like Conor McGregor. I don't like Conor McGregor.
Right.
I watch him just so he can.
But
get
some
beat.
of these boxers, when they see a guy is struggling now, I'm going to fight him so he can get a payday.
Exactly.
So I think Caitlin and Angel, from reading about them before, they seem to have a relationship. They played against each other in AAU ball and liked each other.
Right. But
in sports, when you do something, it always comes back. There is nobody who's undefeated in life.
Right.
If you're undefeated in life, you could do that and it's never going to come back to you.
Right. But unfortunately, like you said, nobody's undefeated. You're going to, if you can dish it out, man, you got to be able to take it. I'm just a firm believer in that.
Right.
You dish it out, you got to be able to take it. That's like I give people grief all the time about football, and as soon as my team loses, my phone blows up. I just, I take it like a man. Mm-hmm. We lost. All right. Brock Purdy got hurt first series of the game. We're done. My phone was blowing up. What's wrong? Hey, what's wrong with your quarterback? I'm like, dude, he got hurt. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to take it.
That's why, like, if your team wins, you can't show up at somebody's house and taunt them.
Why not?
Because then when your team loses,
you just got to be able to
do the same thing to you.
Yeah, you got to be accepting of it, though.
Right.
I'm accepting of it because I'm going to talk my crap. I'm going to show up at your house. I'm going to call you 15 times. If you don't answer, I'm going to keep calling. I'm going to call your relatives. I'm going to get in touch with you some kind of way to let you know and be that irritant to let you know.
I only did that once.
Did you?
I did that once when Central Michigan beat Michigan State. I had to cover the game. On my drive home, I knew about 35 people from Michigan State. I called each and every one of them.
That's great.
No answer. And then my wife went to Michigan State. I called her too. No answer.
I love that.
Yeah. So then when I got home, she was cooking something. I said, "Hey, honey, how come we didn't pick up the phone?" She said, "Oh, there was no way I was going to talk to you after this humiliating loss."
But see, so I have a buddy who's a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Okay.
He's from Philly. So he's the type of fan that, he paints his face. He FaceTimes you with his face painted with his Eagles crap all over the place. Just, he's overly enthused. Mm-hmm. So when they're winning, he can't stay off the phone. He calls you every second. You see them Eagles? He don't just call, he FaceTimes you so you can look at him. And he just overindulges. I'm like, cool. That's what we doing. Okay, I'm with it. Soon as they struggle or lose, when they was losing the Super Bowl, I'm going to get off the phone. No! Don't get off the phone now. Let's talk about what's going on,
Right.
But that's, I love to over-embellish. And if it happens to me, hey, man, it's part of the game.
Did you ever do anything during the game? Shimmy or grab yourself?
No, I didn't. I didn't do that during games because I was always intense and like I love to be on edge when I was on the court. So I was almost like, okay, we're gonna fight in a minute. That's how I always thought especially when we were good.
But when you played, particularly in 2004, I always looked at you almost like a hockey player. Yep. You in somebody's face. Yep. You right there. You're checking them and busting them down. And you had quickness, and I had to know it had to be unnerving for them. But did you ever call anybody something while you?
Yeah, a couple of guys. I remember playing San Antonio in the finals, and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili would always complain to the refs when I would come in the game. And so
before you even did anything?
Yeah. Before I even fouled him.
Okay.
I was going to foul him.
But it was coming.
Yeah, it was coming.
Yeah.
And so I yelled at I yelled at Ginobili, "Stop effing crying all the time." And I just looked at him, and he just looked at me like I was nuts, like, okay. So I yelled at him. Who else? Me and Jay Kidd had an exchange. I threatened to meet him in the hallway. I was like, "Oh, that's how you feel?" I said, "Okay, after the game, right there in that little walkway, I'll be waiting for you." And so he came and apologized. "I'm sorry, Lindsey, my fault." Oh, yeah, okay. Because I hate, I call them studio gangsters.
Right.
I hate that. Like, I don't proclaim myself to be a tough guy or nothing, but if we're going to, like, square up, we could go square up and, hey, best man win. We shake hands and call it a day.
Right.
But don't be, like, acting tough in front of people. I hate that. I hate people that act tough in front of people. And as soon as the crowd comes, you hold me back. Mm-hmm. I hate that.
Like doing like this. Like,
exactly.
Man, if I can just get loose, man. I respect it more because y'all be having fights at the bus.
Exactly.
And then the dude that didn't want to fight, he would get on the bus real quick.
Because, see, the dudes that I rolled with, Ben Wallace and all them guys, when they said, like, "Oh, you got a problem with him," it wasn't going to be like, we're going to stand on the court and no. I'm going to go put my clothes on. I'm going to walk out in this hallway. And as soon as you walk out, I'm knocking you out.
Right. Now,
those are the type of dudes I ran with.
Obviously, Ben Wallace went nuts during the brawl there.
Right.
But Ben Wallace, if he get pissed at you,
buddy,
he be waiting for you at the bus.
Buddy, ask Eric Snow.
Right. Now, y'all had to go through security check for the airport at the arena.
Yes.
So Ben Wallace would be waiting for you before you get to the security check. If you want to fight, then let's fight.
Listen, man, I saved Charlie Ward's life.
Oh, really?
Yes. Charlie's smaller than me. Mm-hmm. And so we were playing the Knicks, and I think Charlie was boxing out or something, and he went down and hit Ben's knees. Mm-hmm. And Ben was like, "Yo, watch my knees, dude." And Charlie must have said something smart like, "Man, shut up." And buddy, that, I don't know, Ben probably had a short fuse that day. He was done. He walked in the locker room, skipped the shower, clothes straight on. So I'm seeing it. I'm like, "Body, what's wrong? What's going on?" He looked at me. He said, "I'm about to go knock your boy out." I said, "Who?" "Ward."
Oh,
so
shit.
I'm like, oh my God. I'm rushing, running out to the thing. Mm-hmm. Ben comes out, Charlie comes out. And I'm talking to Charlie like, "Hey, man, go and get on the bus."
Right. Go through security check and then get on that bus and don't come off.
Ben walks up and was like, "Now, what was you saying out on the court?" And I'm like, no. Go, Ben, leave him alone. Mm-hmm. Ben's like, "You lucky, dude." It's like, "You lucky. I was going to tear your head off right now."
Damn.
So I saved Charlie Ward's life. He owes me.
Okay. Well, Charlie Ward, wherever you are, thank goodness for Lindsey. But this whole the whole thing with Caitlin Clark, this is, I think part of this has to do with the male society. Women aren't supposed to do anything. You're supposed to hit your three and shut up. Fellas, we talk trash.
Yeah.
We bump you. We talk about you. We make gestures, and it's cool. Right. When women do it, it's like, with certain women do it, it's like, we got a problem now.
I don't, man. I enjoyed the women's tournament. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed all the antics. I enjoyed the demonstrative actions of all the players, not just those two. I think every player that it made the tournament more interesting. It made the tournament more like exciting, I think, and it gave us something to talk about. And I think it put women's basketball in a place where it could stand on its own.
It can. But here's a question I have. Women's basketball is taking a quantum leap because of the quality of play and also because of Caitlin Clark and this. Fellas, can the fellas now, is it a position where the fellas, could we go out, have some beers, maybe a shot or two, go out to the sports bar and watch a women's event?
Do you want to get to that after the break?
Yeah, we're going to do that after the break.
All right, first I got to tell you about Cousins Maine Lobster. Woodward Sports is brought to you by Cousins Maine Lobster Detroit. Check out their food trucks rolling around the city offering the tastiest lobster rolls, lobster tacos, and more. Go to cousinsmainelobster.com and search locations to find the Detroit schedule or download the app to order ahead and earn points. It's Cousins Maine Lobster.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Customized Guardian Alarm. It's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call them at 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT, and let Guardian Alarm offer you the protection.
Now, there is a deeper issue with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Part of this is black people have a history of wondering, is there a double standard in this country? For instance, could we have climbed, a bunch of black people climbed the walls at the White House without getting shot? Yes or no?
I think we all know the answer to that. We'd have been picked off with snipers.
Right. Yeah, right. It would be like, it would be crazy. Like mosquitoes. SWAT. They probably would have had like a little repellents up there. So could we have done that? The other thing is the justice system the same for black people as it is white?
No, it's documented.
Right. The only time we got away with something was with OJ. And he wasn't a real brother. I met OJ before the thing.
Yeah, but he still didn't get away with it. They got him.
They got him later. They got him later.
They got him.
OJ was like, I'm not black. I'm just.
I'm OJ.
Right. And I'm OJ. Right. But then when he got on trial, he became black. Oh, they doing this to me. Look at this. I tell you what, who else did that? Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas was like, the world is equal. We're all the same and everything. And then when he got in trouble, he started talking about high-tech lynching. In other words, now I'm a brother now because y'all after me.
Right.
So I think we treated Angel different than Caitlin Clark, because Caitlin Clark is like, this is cute. Oh, back in the 80s, everybody used to complain about the NBA being a trash talking league.
Right.
Until people found out the biggest trash talker was Larry Bird.
No doubt.
Who was
Facts.
white. But then all of a sudden became cool. Well, Larry does it in a creative way. All trash talking is creative.
Well, I think the only other player I think was that the trash talking was accepted and embraced was Michael Jordan, because his is legendary too. Larry and Michael. Mm-hmm. Those are the only two that I could think about that people don't have a problem with.
Like Michael could do anything.
Right.
He could come out with a documentary with a bunch of false stuff in it, and it's cool. But Michael was different.
Right. Yeah. Michael and Larry. They're because, well, the glove got away with it. His was embraced.
He's in Seattle.
Nobody.
Seattle don't count. It's on the West Coast. The game's at 10:30.
Right.
So nobody cares.
Reggie Miller was accepted as a trash talker, right?
Not really, because he was trash talking New York, and they get on. He got criticized for that.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller was hilarious. To me he was the best because he did it in New York.
Yep.
He was dogging Spike Lee. So I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved the sequence where he hits the three and then floats around, then steals the ball, and hits another three.
And we all remember
10 seconds.
when he did the
right. But he's criticized for that.
I know.
I thought it's hilarious. So I like it when y'all talk.
Yeah, I mean, it just, to me, it depends. I mean, it depends on the person, because if you can accept it, then I'm cool with it. But if you get an attitude when somebody says something to you, hey.
But that's what people do. I can do it, but you can't do it.
Right. Well, and we don't know if Caitlin actually had a problem, because somebody on here was like, well, you guys are acting like she had an issue with it. She was fine with it. I mean, maybe she was. But the media wasn't.
Well, social media.
Media, right.
Which is different than the media.
The media, right. But, I mean, I always said this. The bad thing about social media, it gave too many people who think they know more than they really do about certain things a voice. Because now everybody can just say something and think they know everything. You know?
I can be in the basement wearing an adult diaper and a wife beater. I'm on my computer and I'm talking to the whole world.
Right. And you can get your opinion out and people look at it, and some people will say, hey, whoa, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Right. Now, women's basketball is big now.
Yes.
At least after this whole incident and everything.
Right.
My question is this, because tickets for the women's Final Four was more than the men's. Now, part of it is the men play in a larger stadium, but the other fact is that Florida Atlantic was in the Final Four. San Diego State was in the Final Four. And although people claim we just want quality basketball, that's not true. They want to see names. They want the Blue Bloods in there.
Right.
Duke wasn't there. North Carolina wasn't there. Kentucky wasn't there. And people are debating, is Connecticut really a blue blood? Yeah, because they win national titles. They disappear between them, but they win national titles. So that's the blue blood.
Yeah.
So, Lindsey, if I were saying, hey, the women's final, they already played. Let's say it's tonight. And I say, hey, the women's final is tonight. Let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch it and have a couple of beers. Would you go?
If the men's finals was on and the women's?
No, the women's final was on. Would you go to a sports bar to watch any women's sporting event?
Yes, I would.
So I wouldn't go. I'd just leave you there by yourself. I don't think it's appointment viewing for the fellas yet. I'll watch in my basement because I could turn it off anytime I want. But I just don't think it's appointment viewing.
So question. Since we're talking about, women's sports, would you go watch when Serena was at her best? Would you go?
Serena's different.
Oh.
Yeah, I would go see Serena.
I see.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I go see her now, even though she's not at her best.
Right. So you would go see Serena because she's a difference. You're right. She's an icon.
Right.
Some of these college women are becoming icons.
They are.
Caitlin's becoming an icon. You know, the LSU situation is becoming iconic because of this first championship, you know, they've played in and actually won. So I think because I was calling people like, oh man, are you watching this game? You know, because I was stunned that LSU was beating them the way they were.
Right.
You know, and then Iowa came back and made a game of it a little bit, and then LSU ran away with it.
Caitlin Clark is so bad that I have to explain this to some people because I talked about Prince being bad.
Right.
Bad means good. That means
yeah.
you can really play. I mean, she is so bad that when Iowa comes to Michigan State, I might go to the game.
Okay.
Just to see her show out.
Okay. She's phenomenal.
Right.
I enjoy watching her. When I watch South Carolina and Iowa play, because I thought South Carolina was going to win.
Because they were kicking everybody's ass.
Yeah, they lost the game. And but then I gave credit to the coaches too because their game plan was crazy. They weren't going to go out there and chase those athletes around and get beat to the basket. They clogged the paint and forced non-shooters to make shots, which we saw didn't happen.
Right.
Now the coach at LSU, she was like, they're not going to guard us. They're not going to play us like that because we're going to shoot the ball. Mm-hmm. So it kind of worked against them in that situation. But I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed the women's NCAA tournament. It was both tournaments were equally as exciting to me because we had a lot of uncertainty with the men's side, with big-time teams getting taken down. I enjoyed all of that.
You had no idea who was winning games.
And I think that's the way the tournament is supposed to be.
It is. Now, I'm 99% certain that UConn's going to win tonight.
I hope they don't.
Well, I know you hope they don't, but they're going to win.
I'm going for San Diego State, man. They have a chance, I think.
I do. You know what I found in college basketball? What you need some 6'9" dude. He don't have to be great, but he's just got to be tough. He's got to be muscular.
Yep.
Get some offensive boards, get the defensive rebounds, start the fast break, and just kind of fill lanes. You need a guy like that.
Yeah. Both of those teams have guys like that.
Mm-hmm. And last year, they had that too.
Yep.
So, so would you go see Caitlin Clark at Michigan State?
Absolutely. Definitely. Because I know she's going to put on a show.
Right.
I'm going to see her. She's the Steph Curry of college basketball. She's doing what Steph Curry did when he ran through the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. And that's a sight to see.
Now, I remember I get into an argument in a previous radio life about Steph Curry can't make it in the NBA. And I said, man, you got to be crazy. This dude can shoot from long distance. And then the other thing I heard, well, he couldn't survive in the 80s. He absolutely could.
I mean,
because defenses would have to play him differently than they played in the 80s.
Exactly.
They'd have to extend their defenses, and nobody wants to chase that, brother.
No, people talk all that talk about Steph being, well, you know, we're going to be physical with him. Well, yeah, you can be physical with him all you want to. But if you can't stop that wrist from flicking with that basketball, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, if you were elite, you're pretty much going to be elite in any era, right? Is that what you would say, Lindsey?
Exactly.
Absolutely. But before we come back, I got to tell you about Big Boy. Seafood Fest is back at Big Boy. Catch it while you can. Some favorites during Lent, like shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir fry, and the new fish sandwich. Get to your local Big Boy today. Don't forget the all-you-can-eat fish fry buffet on Friday nights.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America.
Woodward Sports,
The first sports network born in Detroit.
and made for Detroit.
Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D with the spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. Don't forget to pick up Australian Gold, Designer Skin, Caltan, and Swedish Beauty Lotions. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters. 27 locations and more coming. It's Chili Peppers Tanning.
All right, buddy boy, let's talk about your Detroit Lions. Is your favorite football team?
No, they're not. I like them, though.
They're a real football team now.
That's what everybody's saying. That's what everybody's saying.
Yep.
I mean,
well, it is. I mean, the organization is run the correct way, finally.
Well, I still think, because you know as well as I do, you know it better than I do, winning hides a multitude of sins in sports.
That is correct.
So a lot of organizations that win are just as dysfunctional as the organizations that lose, but because they have the players that can get it done on the field or court, we don't get to see the dysfunction.
Yeah, that's right.
As soon as there's a chink in the armor, though, we're like, what's going on in their front office?
Right.
No, it's been there. It's just hidden because they're good right now.
You know who I've heard has a bad front office?
Mm-hmm.
And this was during the good time, the Red Wings.
See?
But because they were winning, it didn't matter.
Exactly.
And there was dysfunction on the bad boys. I remember Chuck Daly now and then would get pissed at Bill Laimbeer for taking too many threes. So they're playing at San Antonio, down 3, and Chuck designs a play for Laimbeer to shoot a 3 to tie it. It's in overtime. Laimbeer, the play worked perfectly. Laimbeer had an open 3. He passes to Dennis Rodman, of all people. And so we asked him after the game, hey, Lamb, why'd you pass up that 3? He said, I heard I was shooting too many threes.
You got to have
But
players.
it all was swept under the rug because they were winning.
Right.
They lost that game, but they were winning.
Because trust me, if the Lions struggle out of the gate,
which they can't do,
which, we all say they can't struggle out the gate. If they struggle out of the gate, people are going to be up in arms. Oh, we should have drafted a quarterback. We knew Goff wasn't going to be this guy. There's going to be all types of stuff thrown out there.
No, let me tell you, this is the most important September in Lions history.
Bro, because you're putting a lot of pressure on them.
If they get off to a slow start, man, this town's going to go crazy.
Right.
And by the way, I don't know what Dan Campbell's doing in September. They're 1-7 in September.
Oof.
So they got to correct that. They got to be 3-1.
Hey.
2-2 might not get it. They got to be 3-1 in September.
What is their
to keep this town off their ass?
Flannel, what is their schedule looking like?
Well, that's the question. Their home schedule looks pretty favorable. They got some tough road games. I think it kind of depends on how it plays out. If you have 2 of their first tough road games in September, you might be able to excuse a 2-2 start. But if it's 1-3, if they start 0-2, there's going to be a lot of same old Lions chattering. But I don't think it's going to happen, though. I have a lot of faith in this team, but Terry, you're a long-suffering Detroit media person who's seen a lot of things, so I get it. So they got to start strong.
I was at games at Tiger Stadium where fans would throw snowballs at Lion players as they walked off the field. And I've seen all kinds of stuff.
Dude, I was at a Lions game. I took my daughter they played the Steelers. And Steelers won at the end. And one of the fans, man, I felt so bad for him. He was crying. He's yelling at the refs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're cheating. You're cheating. I mean, he was going off for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is bad. Like, these people are suffering.
No, they are suffering. But then when something good happens, There was a game against Washington, and the Lions lost their first 6 games. They finally won. This dude does a dive into one of the fountains downtown. He was so happy.
Yo, that's nuts. So just imagine. I mean,
I'm like, okay, they're 1-6. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Does this really matter? You're 1-6. You just drenched yourself, and it's cold out. It made no sense to me.
Well, they'll take wins anywhere they can get them. But I mean, everything is. We got to admit, everything is trending the right way for the Lions, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think everybody's happy about the past draft picks, and people will be happy about, regardless to who they pick this draft, they'll trust in the front office.
Right.
So
we should have little coins in Brad we trust.
Because that's the theme right now. Mm-hmm. In Brad we trust. So, you know, if things go the right way, man, and they start off good, and the town will be on fire. But if something happens and they start off struggling, I want to hear what everybody has to say then. I want to see if everybody's going to be true to form and say, hey, we're going to be all right. We're going to get through this rough patch. We're going to make the playoffs.
Now, this town would be on fire with anger. And you know we're going to hear same old lines again. This is what they do. So I'm praying that they don't start 0-4 or something stupid like that.
But even the national media is picking the Lions to be successful now.
Right.
I've never heard the national media pick the Lions to do anything good.
Because they knew better. They knew this was a bad organization, so they could. There would be some outliners one time. There was a dude that wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times like 25 years ago. He said, I got a surprise for you. The Lions are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
What? Who was that?
His name was Dan. I forget his last. It was Dan something. He's in Arizona now. They won 6 games that year.
Well, I don't know about Super Bowl, but I think they'll make the playoffs. I really do.
Okay. So who needs a bigger season? I think this is pretty obvious. Jamison Williams or Aiden Hutchinson?
I'm gonna say Aiden.
Yeah, because he's an every down player.
Right.
In order for the Lions to win, they're going to have to put pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. Yes. And Aiden Hutchinson has to be that guy. Now, Jamison Williams, not saying he doesn't have to have big plays, but it's not going to impact the game as much as Aiden Hutchinson. So Aiden Hutchinson has to be that guy. Because, one, he's going to be starting from the get.
Right.
You're depending on him to put pressure on that quarterback. And so if Aiden Hutchinson does not have a good year, the Lions are going to struggle. If Jamison Williams does not have a good year, they can still
be okay.
Make the playoffs.
Right.
Even without him. But
I think we saw the impact of having guys to put pressure on the quarterback when my guy went down from Buffalo. They were non-existent after that. They solely depended on their quarterback to try to get them through it. You gotta have a defensive line that can put pressure in, and you know it's best if you can just have that front four put pressure without bringing linebackers and having blitzes. But normally that's tough to do unless you got some special guys up there.
Right. Now, with that said, the Lions are putting some pressure on Jamison Williams. That's why they got rid of Shark. What they're betting on is that Jamison Williams is going to be that stretch guy. Mm-hmm. They don't need Shark. Shark wanted $8 million a year, and they didn't want to pay him that. So now they're saying this rookie can do the same thing, and for a lot less.
Right.
And so I think Neil Rule is running the Lions now.
Neil is happy about that. So
yeah, he's Mr. Salary Cap. He doesn't want to spend any money on anything.
Except college players.
And Disney.
Right. He'll buy some college players. Now, hey, I don't care. Pay them.
Yep.
Come on, Neil. But and then that'll tell the draft, I think, will kind of tell us what they're thinking. like which direction they go with these draft picks. That'll tell us kind of what they're thinking. If they go defense, then we know, okay, they feel like they got to.
Now, are you on the quarterback bandwagon or no quarterback?
I think if you take one late, I'm good with that. A developmental guy, a guy that can, possibly develop, but I wouldn't take one early. I wouldn't take a quarterback.
I would either take one early or not take one at all, because they need the quarterback of the future on this roster at some point.
Right, at some point.
Not saying it has to be this year, but I mean, you're going to bring in another Nate Sudfeld. What's the point?
But here's my thing though, Terry.
Or another John Kitna. What's the point?
But here's the thing: the only quarterbacks that I mean, and maybe one of those young, lower level guys will be good. We never know. But the guys I think that we know are NFL quarterbacks are going to be gone. So you take
not necessarily, because all these mock drafts are crazy. But
right.
I've seen some where 5 of the first 6 picks are going to be a quarterback.
Right.
Then I've seen some. There's the 2 defensive players, Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, are going to be in there. That there will be a quarterback for the Lions. A guy like Anthony Richardson. Not a big fan of his, but that's the guy that you could take if you're going to do that, because with him, you can bring him in here, shelve him for 2 years and see if you can develop him into a quarterback.
Which is a good idea. That's what Kansas City did. Kansas City didn't, put Mahomes in right away. Did he sit 2 years?
Yes.
He sat 2 years and
Alex Smith.
Behind Alex Smith and got better. So and that guy's a unique talent, man, but you know how it is. We watch him throw footballs with no pressure and they look great, and oh man, he just flick of the wrist and it goes 60 yards. Yeah, but how is that flick of the wrist when a defensive lineman is bearing down on him? Is that flick of the wrist accurate then?
Not necessarily.
Right.
But the other problem if you bring in a quarterback who can play is this town is batshit. It'd be 2 weeks before they said, get Jared Goff out of here, because this town always wants the backup to be the starter.
Yeah, but if you draft that Richardson kid, he's not ready to be, as far as I've seen, he's not ready to be a starter, and
But you know what? I go back to Andre Ware. Andre Ware was never ready to be a starter, but this town was calling for him to be the starter. That's my point. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If they don't see you, you got to be better than the starter, because the starter never plays up to the high expectations of this town. So I want to see the backup.
But Terry, if you take a quarterback that high, that's what you're gonna people. Quarterbacks don't have like time anymore.
Right.
It used to be you draft a quarterback and he sat. That was the expectation. Now it's no. We draft you and you play.
Right.
And you produce. Or after the second year, we're like, he can't play.
Right. Now I would not do it, but if I'm going to draft a quarterback, it's either with the 6th pick or I'm not picking one at all. I don't want to bring in some scrub who's going to sit here and we're going to talk about developing him, and then he turns out to be garbage.
Well, but you may, if you take one late and take a flyer and you trust your scouts, you may get a Brock Purdy.
You could, but that's 1 in a million. 1 in a million.
Oh, man. The quarterback discussion, it's just always something that's going to be coming up and down. But it's draft season. That is kind of the nature of it all. But first, before we come back, I got to tell you about Swiss Insurance. Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Swiss can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance, give us a shot and you won't be disappointed. Email them at mark@swissins.com. That is mark@swissins.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Miraculous catch.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
You know what? Back here on the Big D Energy Show from Feldman. Lindsey, I don't care how bad the Tigers are. I'm still excited about opening day. I'm going down there. I'm going to have fun. That's kind of like, just it's like my birthday. I'm going to enjoy it. In fact, this year I'm going old school. I'm going to Nemo's.
Yep,
which is back in the day.
Right.
So I like. But, I think the Tigers' season is essentially over now.
It just started, Terry.
It's done. They scored 3 runs in a series. They got swept. Houston's going to clown them. They'll be – I was an optimist. I said they're going to come home 2-4. They're going to come home 0-6 or 1-5.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. I was listening.
No. You're being nice. It's more than the struggle. All right, here. Let's be blunt. They suck.
Come on, man. Man. Being an ex-athlete, I've been on terrible teams, and I don't know. It's just you always have a glimmer of optimism, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but y'all be telling us junk. You be like 0-9, and I go in there, hey, what's wrong? What's wrong with the team? Oh, I see some glimpses. We're gonna turn this around. These guys here are real serious about this, and my dumb ass believes y'all. I be like, oh, this is gonna turn around. Lindsey told me, even though we 12-90, that we still got a shot.
I remember the year we won 20 some odd games, and I thought that was my rookie year, and I thought we were I thought it was Groundhog's Day.
Mm-hmm.
We were losing so much. I was like, this is the NBA. It was awful. Oh my God. And who was our coach? Don Chaney.
Don Chaney, right.
And you could tell it was wearing on him, man.
Yeah.
And he was like, I felt so bad for it because he was such a good guy.
Yeah, he was great.
But man, that losing wore on him, man. He was.
Yeah, sometimes I'd go into his office just to talk to him. First thing he'd always do is just rub his whole head. Like, I don't know, man.
Hey, I remember we were getting beat so bad at home once. He came in the huddle. He was like, your own home team is booing you. And we all looked at him like, what? Oh, man. We were awful, man. That was bad.
Now, which reminds me of the Pistons now, and this is something that always perplexed me. Pistons have nothing to play for this year. You could end the season right now, and nobody would bat an eye. They'd be like, let's put them out of their misery. But if you go in that locker room, or if you talk to like a coach or front office, they always, they got plenty to play for. What? What do you have to play for at this point of the season? I'm putting you on the team.
So here's the deal. Team-wise, we know what we're trying to do, right? Team-wise, we know the Pistons. We're trying to get the #1 pick, and we have a great percentage, points to get it. Individually, those guys are playing to be on the team.
Right.
Because I don't see a lot of these same guys returning. So these guys are trying to showcase the fact, hey, I belong in the NBA. Now, hopefully we can upgrade our team next year and we won't be, some of the guys, won't be back and they'll be elsewhere. So that's what they're playing for.
Right. The same team never returns. At a minimum, there'll be 4 people off this team jettisoned.
Right.
And maybe more.
Right.
So
right.
So they're playing for that. The other thing that I don't believe in is, let's say the Pistons win their last 4 games or something, and people will say, oh, that's momentum that's going to carry over into next season.
But
that's baloney.
So Terry.
Yes.
The Lions won their last few games, and everybody's saying that momentum is carrying over to the next season.
No, that's because the Lions are good now. That's why.
But okay, we're saying they're good. We're saying a non-playoff team is good, right?
We're saying that.
Okay.
That was 8-2. They show that they're actual team. Momentum doesn't carry over to the next season.
Okay.
Because you're telling me, because I won my last game, I'm going to go 180 days without playing, and when I step on that field in September, it's going to make a difference in that game in September. It doesn't.
No, that's as far from the truth as possible, because you have to have a good team, like you just said. You have to have a good team. Like when a championship team wins the championship, there's no championship momentum. There's a good championship team that's going to be out there, because most of the time when you win a championship, you have a little hangover the next couple.
Right, you're a little fat and sassy.
Yeah. So you kind of depends on who you are and what how your makeup is. You start off a little shaky, but for the Pistons to win a couple of games right now, it doesn't matter either way, because this won't be the same team. And we hope we can get Wamba in here. And man, I saw a play that he made. This dude, I don't care what people can talk about. Oh, he's skinny, he's 18. This kid is. Dude, I saw him shoot a 3. He missed it. He crashed the offensive boards, caught it with one hand.
I saw that play.
And dunked it. I was like, I'm looking, I sent it to everybody. I was like, dude, did you see what this kid just did?
Yeah, actually, we're getting at least some snippets of him playing. And, back in the day when they drafted Darko second, we didn't see 1 second of him playing. Not 1 second.
Yeah, but, I looked up his stats. That told me everything I need to know.
I mean, that's 6.7 points a game he averaged?
Exactly.
Right.
Because when I always say, especially drafting young high school guys, they have to be extraordinary. Like when you looked at what Kobe Bryant did in high school, he was averaging 30, 37, almost 40 points a game. So there was like, oh, okay.
Right. And then LeBron, we got to see him play in high school. You have to be to be young like that. Even Luka, we saw Luka win MVP in his league over there as a kid. Right.
So you knew, like, no, he can really get it done. When you don't have that, like with Darko, we never saw it, and then you didn't see the numbers. With this kid, we see the skill set, we see the numbers, we see the rim protection. The kid is basically a point forward at 7'4".
Yep.
I'm watching him bring the ball up the court, and he looks like he's 6'2".
So the Pistons get the number 1 pick. Are you going to be the coach of the Pistons? You going to put your hat in the ring?
Hey, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, back to the kid. Terry put me on the spot. No, but he's probably, man, I don't remember since LeBron this much anticipation about a kid coming to the league.
Right.
I haven't seen this type of excitement and anticipation about somebody being a surefire number 1 pick.
Right.
Barring injury or anything like that.
Now, before I saw your little highlight, my only hesitation is he's from Europe.
But
they got a reputation of being soft.
But that used to be true. But he's been around Tony Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Tony wasn't soft.
He was not.
So I won't judge him on that, because I think he's been around the right people. And then watching him, man, this dude is a natural rim protector. He's naturally good at blocking shots.
So if the Pistons don't get Wembanyama, are they still screwed for another year? no matter who else they bring in?
No, because I personally I would take Scoot Henderson from the Ignite. I like him. He's a monster of a point guard. Monster.
Okay.
I would take him too. I know a lot of people saying take the kid from Alabama. I like the kid from Alabama, but I think if we don't get the big fella, we should take a point guard.
Okay, if you don't get the big fella and they start out slow again, it's going to come down on the coach, Dwayne Casey. Now, what I hear is he getting through, like he's a nice guy, he's grandfatherly.
Great dude.
But can he communicate with this new generation of players?
Good question. I don't know. I haven't been around close enough to know the dynamics of that. But it is a challenge. Like it is a challenge to get through to the new generation because they're different. They're totally different. And you have to understand how to kind of bridge that gap of getting through to these guys because a lot of these guys take everything personal.
No, they do. Charles Barkley said something about Kevin Durant. Right. It's true. He can't take criticism. He can't. He's very fragile. He gets upset about stuff.
I wouldn't say he's fragile. I would say because that's how most of the generation is. I don't say he's fragile. I just think he's always on the defense because because they pay so much attention to social media and everything people say. Anybody that has a burner account that goes out and defends everything that people say about him, that's what they like to do. He likes that stuff. I think deep down inside, KD's like, man, I just like getting on social media, going back and forth with people, And Barkley was the same way. When people said stuff about him, he'd be ready to fight.
That's true. You know who else like Michael Jordan? He won't talk to Barkley because he said something about him.
Right. And Barkley gets mad, and I'm like, you're the same way. Like, what are you mad at him for? Mm-hmm. When somebody does something to you or says something to you, you get into your feelings.
Okay. All right. When we come back, I'm going to tell you, and Lindsey's going to tell us, is he going to wear a Tiger cap on Thursday, or is he going to skip up? That's coming up next on the Big D Energy Show. Take it away, Flannel.
Absolutely. We got to talk about Planet Fitness before we can go to break. Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere. The gym that has always been known for being clean is now cleaner than ever, has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes. All memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month. Join today in club or online at planetfitness.com. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Can we make fun of Flannel Sam now? Does Michigan still have a basketball team?
No. It's going to look really bad. Unless something miraculous can happen with Juwan Howard being able to completely reshape this roster through the transfer portal. I mean, you lost Hunter Dickinson to transfer. You're losing Jet Howard and Kobe Buffkin to the draft. And those were your three best players on a team that didn't even make the tournament. So it's looking real rough. But, hey, did you guys see Jaden Davis, 5-star quarterback recruit, committing to Michigan this past Friday? That's what I care about right now. Let's talk about the real news.
Because it's a football school.
It is a football school. But, yeah, Michigan basketball, it's going to be some tough times ahead. I'm not looking forward to it.
Flannel, did you hear what Hunter Dickinson had to say?
I mean, what did he have to say?
He said, Juwan's my guy, too. I love Juwan. He said this season was all about Jet Howard.
Did he say that, or was that like one of those quotes that was made up to be true, or like an onion or something like that?
As far as I know, he said it.
I don't think he said that. He didn't say that.
He didn't say it?
I don't think he said that. But even if he did, the bottom line is there was no excuse for that team not making the tournament. They had all that talent. They had 2 NBA first-round picks, and I see it in mocks right now. And Hunter Dickinson, who's probably going to transfer to another team and help them make a Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, and they couldn't make the tournament with that team. That falls on Juwan Howard. At some point, it falls on Juwan Howard.
No, it does, because I think, this is me talking, I think Hunter Dickinson, his whole point of playing basketball, he wants to play in the league. He wants to be in the NBA. So he goes to Michigan, where he's supposed to be a one and done. We're still talking 3 years later, he's not NBA ready. So I think Hunter Dickinson, probably his dad's involved in this, looked at it and said, okay, I'm not getting the proper coaching to make me an NBA player. I'm going to go elsewhere. That's what I think.
That sounds about right, but I still think the kid's an NBA player. Now, to what level, I don't know. But I still think he's a 7-footer and he's skilled.
And he can shoot the three. Which is gold now. Right.
So I just don't know if his stock was as high as he probably would have liked it to be.
There's no room for him.
Where?
In the NBA.
Who said that?
Scouts.
Yeah, I don't know what scout. I know a couple of teams that could use him.
Well, Pistons could use anybody. We want to include them.
Well, I mean, for all the talk about Hunter Dickinson not really developing and regressing or all that stuff, which I think a lot of it is utter nonsense. He got his field 3-point percentage up to 42% on low volume, but 42% is a damn good percentage. I mean, and he knows when to take them. He doesn't just jack them up. He's not a shot jacker.
But you know what? Here's the reason. If you want to really go to the NBA, this is why you don't go to Michigan. When you go to Michigan, except under John Beilein, Steve Fisher, Bill Frieder, if you went to Michigan and if you were a B player, you left a B player as a B player. You never really, upped your game. If you're an NBA player when you went in there, you're going to an NBA. If you're not, when you go there, you're not going to elevate yourself. Michigan has a history of not developing their basketball players.
Well, I think that probably was true, but I think it changed because
under Beilein.
Yeah, under Beilein. It changed under Beilein because he took guys, that I don't think anybody. What's the shooter that's in Miami right now who's overpaid?
Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, right. I never thought Duncan Robinson would be an NBA player.
Exactly.
Ever.
And he's making $90 million.
Right.
Yeah, and on that team that made the finals in 2020, Duncan Robinson was one of the most important pieces. Was he shooting like 44% from three?
Yes.
He was a sharpshooter. He was a marksman. And Duncan Robinson doesn't even include the 8 first-round draft picks that John Beilein recruited and developed between 2013 and 2019. Guys like Karis LeVert, DJ Wilson, who weren't super high recruits.
Yeah, but we knew Karis was a pro.
Yeah, the problem with Karis is he just couldn't stay healthy. Right. I think that he would have taken that team to farther heights. But yeah, he always had the skill set. He's been a good NBA player.
Yes.
He's been one of the better ones that Michigan has produced in the last 10, 15 years.
Right.
I'm a big Karis LeVert fan. Like Trey Burke, guys like that. Tim Hardaway Jr., Nick Stauskas. I mean, those weren't guys that were like 3 stars or anything coming out, but they became better under John Beilein. They became first-round draft picks. And I'd say that at least Tim Hardaway Jr. has had a heck of an NBA career.
Yeah, great career. He's been really good.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, you brought up Trey Burke. This town went crazy when Joe Dumars drafted Kentavious Caldwell-Pope ahead of Trey Burke.
Oh, man.
I think that was the right move.
Yeah, that you can't argue that because I think Caldwell Pope has had a better career, but Trey Burke has had a good career too. but Pope was a good draft pick. And
for that local guy, we saw him hit the shot and all that kind of stuff.
Sentimental value.
Yeah.
Right.
And Trey Burke, if we're being honest, and I'm the first one to kind of vouch for him, he didn't have a great NBA career. It was a little bit disappointing. He was a top 10 pick. He didn't do too much, but he stuck around. I mean, he's been one of those rotational pieces.
He got paid.
Yeah. I think he was still in the league. Is he still with Dallas?
Is he still there? I don't know.
Yeah,
he's a bouncer now.
Yeah, he played. He had a good little stretch.
He was recently, and the one that I can't believe I keep forgetting about, another one who I don't recall being a big time recruit, who is now probably the best of them all, is Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole was another one, a first-round draft
really
pick.
Really good.
A pivotal piece to the Golden State Warriors. I mean, if they win more championships, Jordan Poole's going to be a big part of it.
Definitely.
All he's got to do is stay out of Draymond Green's the right way. He'll be good. He'll have a great career.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, I didn't think that Jordan Poole would be good in the NBA, but I was wrong about that one. I saw some of his shot jacker tendencies at Michigan, but he still does shoot probably at too high of a volume, but he's developed.
Finally, that's not the only thing you've ever been wrong about, so we're not shocked.
Hey, I'm happy to be wrong about Jordan Poole.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Jordan Poole, their shot selection will always be questioned because they're talented and he can do some things that other people can't. Just like Steph Curry. Steph takes the worst shots out of anybody I've ever seen.
He does.
But you got to let him do it.
Yeah, but he makes them.
You got to let him do it. Jordan Poole's the same way.
Yeah, but the funny thing is as great as Jordan Poole has developed to be as a shooter, I mean, Steph Curry is on a different stratosphere than anybody.
That's different, yeah.
He's the best shooter in NBA history. I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
No, and I'm very shocked that you would acknowledge that.
Why would I not acknowledge that?
I don't know. It's for some reason obvious things that we see you don't. And I don't know why, but I mean, it's just that's how.
Dude, I went to Warriors practice one time. Steph Curry made 27 threes in a row.
Yeah, that's a light day too. I was there working him out. And we would do a drill after he would finish his hour and 45-minute workout. And he'd shoot 100 threes every day just to document how many he made every day out of 100.
Mm-hmm.
This particular day, he went 99 for 100.
Shut up.
And the one he missed rattled out.
That's unbelievable.
And I'm sitting there, because we didn't record it, I'm sitting there in amazement like, did he just do? And he went and wrote it on the board, 99 out of 100.
You know who else could shoot free throws?
Who's that?
Ben Wallace.
No.
Hang on. In practice, the Pistons kept a chart of free throws you made. Ben Wallace was always around 72, 73% in practice. And then in games, he shoot 27%. Either he can't shoot free throws when he's tired or that's mental.
God, that doesn't seem real. I mean, I know. Hey, I know Lindsey Hunter, you played in the NBA for a long time. Is game pressure, can that really skew your free throw shooting from practice to a game that much?
Yeah, it can. Think about it. Shooting period versus practice versus games is totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. Like, your percentage point's going to go down in games just because it's a game. So, I don't know, but don't give Flannel any more ammunition about Ben.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you trying to keep him out the Hall of Fame. That's right.
No, I'm trying to keep Ben from killing him.
Oh, okay. I said he shot 73% in
you
practice.
Did, but Flannel, that'll give him more ammunition. See, that's furthermore why he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. And
no, shooting is different. I used to talk to John Sally about this. He said, believe it or not, he said 85% of players in the NBA, the best in the world, don't want to take a game-winning shot.
That's true.
Yeah, he said that basketball with 3 seconds left turns into a pumpkin.
And that's why LeBron doesn't like
with
taking
the stem on it.
Man, stop it. That's narrative, Lindsey. That's narrative.
No, that's unfair. LeBron makes the right basketball play.
And I was about to say that. That's so true because I always, working with kids, I always say, hey, LeBron plays the game the way the game is supposed to be played. You make the right basketball play, unless you got a guy standing in the corner wide open who can't hit a base side, hit the barn, don't throw it to him. But that's
early in his career, he was still pass to that guy. Now I think he's learned.
See, and that's what we were talking about.
Okay.
time and score means a lot.
I understand that.
Like, Flannel, if you're standing in the corner and I got the ball up top, I'm not going to throw it to you.
You shouldn't. I can't shoot.
Even if you're wide open.
I can't
but
shoot.
That's my point. Like, certain things like that, you got to – when people are like, well, you know, he passed it to – no, he passed to a guy that can't shoot better than him. No, shoot it yourself, right?
But the one that he most famously passed up, though, was to Kyle Korver. That man can shoot. One of the greatest sort of spot-up three-point shooters in NBA history.
Yeah, but I think if we look back, if I'm correct, if my mental Rolodex serves me right, he was struggling then, wasn't he?
I mean, 2018, he was terrible in the finals. 2017, he was better, yeah.
My mental Rolodex was right.
Right. Sometimes you struggle during the game, and I don't care who you are, you're not going to pass the ball to them if they're struggling that game.
But LeBron, at least in the later part of his career, has become very, very clutch, in my opinion. I think the numbers will play that out, that he's one of the most clutch players in NBA history.
Okay, let's see how tough Flannel is. Is LeBron James a Hall of Fame player?
Yes.
I guess I got to ask you
yes,
that.
Terry.
Okay, just want to be sure.
Yes, Terry.
Is he overrated?
No.
So how can he not be overrated, but Tom Brady is?
Well, there's many different circumstances to it. I mean, when
then that great point, because there's many circumstances to why I say LeBron passes up certain times in the crunch time, which you say, oh no, he's one of the great clutch players of all time.
I mean, off the top of my head,
numbers can tell you a lot of different things. It depends on how you configure them, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I want to hear why Tom Brady's overrated.
Man, he can't even justify that.
No, you got to have a reason.
You know what? Let's do it after the break because we are late.
So he doesn't have a reason.
I do have a reason. I do have a reason,
right.
but we can get to it after the break because we are actually late. Because at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. Have a big project coming up? Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today at 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the three biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
The Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game. There are two ways to play, $12 limited open play or $120 lane reservation for up to 10 people. They got the $2 mystery beer machine and a full bar. Check it out at Foaling Warehouse or visit them online at foalingwarehouse.com.
All right, back here, Big D Energy. Lindsey, let me go back to your Detroit Pistons who stink. If you're a player, what are y'all talking about at this point of the season?
Vacation.
We got the I-75 eyes.
1, 2, 3, Cancun. Remember that? All right. No, but guys are. You're talking about where you're gonna work out in the summer, where you're gonna be.
Cancun.
Yeah, probably. But you still talk about next year. You're trying to see how the team can get better. Everybody wants to shoot for the playoffs. You want to, hey man, we got to get a playoff spot. You know
what I think? I think Troy Weaver thinks they're going to make the playoffs next year,
which he should. He should. I think with a healthy Cade, depending how the ping pong ball falls,
is Cade worth a 40-game turnaround or 30-game turnaround? No.
I'm not going to say Cade by himself is worth a 40-game turnaround.
Oh, you betting on the Frenchman coming in?
We get Cade and lucky bounce of the ball, and we get number 1 now. Now you're talking about a 40-game turnaround.
Okay.
Because now you got some studs, you got some guys you possibly can package and trade to, add on to the roster, get some more shooting, some role players, some defenders, and put the puzzle together.
Okay.
Then you're talking.
If they get Wembanyama, they could have like a 2-man rotation off the bench.
2-man.
Just play your starting 5, Cade, Ivey, Wembanyama. I don't care who else you put in there. It don't matter.
Wiseman.
I have to interrupt really quick just to take care of some business because I forgot to do it before we came back. We did a giveaway for a Jameson Williams jersey, and the winner for that is Randy Shabro at Michigan Fan. Again, that is Randy Shabro at Michigan Fan. Give Woodward Sports a Twitter DM, and we will let you know all of the details after that. Again, congratulations to Randy Shabro at Michigan Fan for your Jameson Williams jersey. Now back.
Congratulations, young man.
He's a Michigan fan.
Hey.
Sounds like an inside job.
My people. If I could, I would only let Michigan fans win that giveaway, but that's all right. I don't. I'm sure you've had some very fine state fans who've won some giveaways or something.
I'd like to see the stats on that. Flannel in charge of that.
Michigan won a 3rd straight Big Ten title in football?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
100%. They're bringing back Donovan Edwards, Will Johnson, J.J. McCarthy.
And they got a quarterback.
Yes, they do have a quarterback. And they bringing one in 2024, Jaden Davis, to keep it rolling. I didn't even mention Blake Corum. So many pieces on defense. Braden McGregor, Mason Graham, R.J. Moten, Rod Moore, Junior Colson. I could go on and on and on. Michigan's winning the Natty in 2023. I'm calling it right
Michigan
now.
can't win the Natty.
What's the Natty? The national championship?
They're incapable of
winning. Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. Because here's why. Because Alabama, they lost Bryce Young. I don't know who's going to be their quarterback.
A number 1 prospect.
Well, but one of the guys that had to fill in when Bryce Young was injured was Jalen Milroe, and he didn't look so good. I'm just saying, I know that Alabama gets the best prospects, Georgia gets the best prospects, but over the last couple of years, Michigan has been probably the 2nd most successful program in college football over the totality of the 2 years after Georgia. They went to 2 college football playoffs in a row. They obviously flamed out both times, but they're bringing back their best roster.
Don't you have to win a playoff game? Don't you have to show you can win a playoff game?
I'll tell you what.
And not get blown out?
That Michigan-TCU game was one of the worst days of my life. I owned it. It was just a bad performance.
Well, see, you guys suffered from we've already won itis because you guys had looked over TCU. I didn't hear one Michigan fan talk about TCU. It was like, oh, we're going to run them out, run them off the field. That's all you guys kept saying, and I'm sure you were one of those fans.
Yes, I was.
See, can't wait until Georgia.
I mean but on one hand though, I get it. That was bad. That was overlooking them, and TCU actually did some things like even out-physicaled Michigan from time to time, which Michigan was supposed to be much better at, but Michigan just had, not to rejudicate this game again, but Michigan had so many unforced errors. 2 J.J. McCarthy pick sixes, 2 possessions inside the 2-yard line in which they came up with 0 points. It was one of the worst days of my life. I understand that they need to do something before I can have national championship expectations. I just think this is the best Michigan team in terms of talent and in terms of coaching that I've ever seen.
Don't get the ball inside the 2-yard line and then call a triple reverse fake pass. How about that?
Yes, and another one, which happened later, which was even more maddening to me. You know that Roman Wilson touchdown that a lot of Michigan fans were complaining about the ref? It was called back, but they got it at the half-yard line. Just punch it in. Don't hand the ball off to a converted linebacker.
Right.
Just J.J. McCarthy take the ball and then maybe have Colston Loveland in the back just pushing him in the end zone.
Right.
They would have won that game.
But you didn't do that.
Didn't do that.
But instead you complained about the ref's call.
I didn't, but any Michigan fan who did, they had so many opportunities. It was all on them. Terrible.
But they've been in what? They've been in the college playoff how many years?
2.
2 in a row.
2 in a row?
Got beat both times.
Yeah. Doesn't look good for you guys. I don't think they'll win it.
Well, I think that they're at least going to go into the
I got to see this quarterback play first.
I don't know if the Big Ten can win a playoff game.
I mean, J.J. McCarthy was pretty good last year when he was asked to be fair.
He was okay.
Because, you know, it won't be Alabama, it won't be Georgia, but then Clemson will come up and just beat their ass. Or maybe LSU. I just think that the whole national Natty thing is set up for all these Southern schools. I mean, they get the better athletes, the better players, and they just
man.
Yeah, and then we talk about Clemson. You know who's cost them a couple runs in a row? DJ Uiagalelei, or Dabo Swinney's decision to keep playing him, because that guy just wasn't it. He was Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence weren't walking through that door. It was DJ Uiagalelei.
But it's a Southeast, not Southeast Conference, but it's a Southeast United States thing now. If you're not from Florida or Alabama or Louisiana or Georgia, you're not winning anything.
I mean, if we're being honest, the amount of dominance that just Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia have had, and even if you want to sprinkle in LSU or even Ohio State, Florida in the more in the early 2010s, late 2000s, it's been dominated by mostly SEC and Southern teams. But I just think Michigan has the most talent that they've ever had on a roster since 1997, and I think that's fair. And especially with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards returning, J.J. McCarthy, Will Johnson, J.J. McCarthy, those are 5 stars. Those are guys that we talk about Michigan not being able to get. I know that's just 2, but I like this team. They're ready.
And why hasn't Michigan been able to get 5 stars? I don't get that.
Well, there's a lot of different. There's a lot going on with that. Well, Michigan, first of all, early on under Harbaugh, they weren't really winning the way that he was promised. They would always get smashed to Ohio State. There's NIL complications, which Michigan has been reluctant to sort of jump on board with. And, of course, if you want to go to the league, you look at who Saban and Kirby Smart are putting in. It's like if you're a 5-star recruit, you probably want to go to those schools or even Clemson. I don't know, though. But the fact that they got a 2024 guy in Jaden Davis to recruit the 5-star quarterback, I think that is promising. That they might be here to stay. At the very least, be the preeminent, dominant program in the Big Ten. I want more than that, but I think they're set up at least for that.
I think we know why Michigan doesn't get 5 stars. The bag man isn't as strong as at Alabama, Georgia. I mean, the thing about recruiting that we always brush aside is these dudes, and I know NIL is different, but prior to this, y'all were getting paid. The bag man was bringing in the recruits. It wasn't your top assistant coach.
Unless Michigan wasn't doing that.
Now, you can believe this if you want. The Fab Five. Jimmy King claims they didn't get paid. He said none of them. I don't believe it, but that's what he's telling us. But I know for a fact, my man, was it Donovan from Florida? There was Mount Pleasant had the boys finals there for basketball. He was up there with his bag man.
Who's
Bobby
Michigan's
Knight
bag man?
had a bag man. Yeah, Flannel, you the bag man?
No, I am not. If anybody knows who the bag man is, Terry Foster would be more likely to know than me.
You know how Michigan could dominate?
How?
Stephen Ross become your bag man.
I'm good with it. And I'd give up a limb for Michigan to win a national championship at this point.
You heard it, people. Flannel will give up an arm or
not
leg.
an arm, maybe like a pinky or a pinky toe. I want to be functional.
That is a limb.
That is technically a limb, but I
Good
want
question.
that.
Somebody said, ask Braylon who the bag man is. Yeah, we got to ask Braylon.
We should. Braylon's going to, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't do that at Michigan.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man. Speaking of all-time great Michigan players, our very own Braylon Edwards. Very own. And my first favorite Michigan football player. That's actually a fact. So getting to work with him was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Not to get sentimental for a second, but that is pretty cool, actually.
Get sentimental. It's okay. They're not going to win a national championship, so this is a good time for you to stay sentimental.
Well, you know the good news is that if Michigan doesn't win a national championship, I can call someone who will help me with my depression, and that is SMA, the sports marketing agency, because the sports marketing agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Three NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups.
Detroit fans were there.
4 World Series wins.
Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
All right, Flannel believes Michigan doesn't have a bag man.
He doesn't believe it. He's just talking.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. Jimmy King, part of the Fab Five. Here's why he told me he went to Michigan. He went to Michigan because they did not pay him. I'm like, Jimmy, come on, dude. I was born, but I was not born yesterday.
That makes a lot of sense. They're not going to pay us, so we're going to go there.
Yeah, that's what we're going to. Right. Okay.
Why did Tom Brady go to Michigan? Did they pay him?
I don't even think he was that highly rated of a recruit.
Oh, this kid.
He was not. He was the number 2 quarterback. Drew Henson was supposed to be the guy.
Right, and they were forcing Drew Henson to make them split time because Drew was threatening to go play Major League Baseball or something?
Yeah, he was going to play baseball, and Drew had he had a better street agent because Drew Henson had negotiated with Michigan. I'm playing. I don't care who else you got here at quarterback. So Tom Brady had to play backup to Drew Henson.
See, that furthermore strengthens his GOAT ability.
Yeah. So I'm going to believe this. Tom Brady may not have gotten paid at Michigan.
Okay.
I'll acknowledge that because he didn't have.
He should have.
He should have been. But he didn't have assurances. Drew Henson did. And so maybe that's the greatest Michigan player in history not to get paid at Michigan.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Tom Brady, he wasn't great at Michigan, which is why he went in the 6th round of the NFL draft. He wasn't great at Michigan. Drew Henson was every bit the quarterback that Tom Brady was at Michigan. It's just obviously Tom Brady has gone on to such great stratospheres in the NFL.
So, Flannel, do you have like statistical things to back this up?
What,
that Drew Henson was better than Tom Brady at Michigan? Because everything that I remember Tom Brady doing was winning games at Michigan. Like every time we saw him play, he won.
Yeah, he would bail them out.
Yes.
Well, I mean, but Drew Henson, his 1 year as a starter after Tom Brady had left, he did have 16 touchdown passes, I believe 4 interceptions, and was, before last year, was the last quarterback to win in Columbus. I'm not saying that Drew Henson was some great Michigan quarterback. I just think he gets disrespected. Obviously, Tom Brady did some good things as well, especially culminating one season with an Orange Bowl victory, which is significant because, Michigan football struggles to win major bowl games, which Terry, which it's all good. I'm just saying that Drew Henson, he shouldn't be some punchline in Michigan history. He should be respected. That's all.
Yeah, I want to know, how's Michigan going to win a natty when Michigan can't win a bowl game?
Well, Terry, and I know that this isn't sort of based in reality or fact. It's more based in sort of sentimentality. Remember, Michigan struggled to win Rose Bowls all throughout their entire history. Bo Schembechler famously was 2-8.
2-10.
Or was it 2-10? Whatever. Either one, it's not good. Not
Right.
good at all. But when they actually had a chance to win a national championship in 1997, what did they have to go win? The Rose Bowl.
They had to play Washington State, who stunk.
Ryan Leaf, he was a good college
Ryan
quarterback.
Leaf was not a good quarterback.
I mean, he was good. He was good enough to be the number 2 overall pick. Obviously, he was
he fooled them.
The worst NFL draft bust probably ever. But still, Michigan, yeah, they've had struggles winning Rose Bowls, winning any major postseason bowl games. But this is the most talented Michigan team I've seen since 1997. And 1997 actually broke through. So that's why I actually have confidence in them.
Okay. All right.
Well, back to his discrediting Tom Brady. Give us some information on that.
Yeah, why is Tom Brady overrated, please?
Okay. It's because Tom Brady gets too much individual credit for team accomplishments.
Whose fault is that?
That is, I mean, it's it's not all his fault that they win. No. That's what I'm saying.
Well, none of that credit he demands, people give him credit, right?
But that's the NFL, though.
Yeah.
That's not – the point is that, first off, his first 3 Super Bowls, during his first Super Bowl win against the Rams, he led his offense to a grand total of 13 points. Ty Law had a pick 6. Right. He wasn't a great quarterback back then. In his second Super Bowl run, it included I believe this was the year where they had to get through the Indianapolis Colts at New England, in which they held an MVP Peyton Manning offense to 3 points. And the next year they held him to 14 points, which that's more the defense. I think we would all admit in the first 3 Super Bowls, Tom Brady wasn't yet a great quarterback.
No, he wasn't, but those rosters weren't great either.
Those defenses.
Offensively.
Well, offensively, fine, but those defenses, when you allow a team 14 points.
Right.
I mean, 2007, obviously, that's when he became a great quarterback. He broke the record. But even in 2014, all Pete Carroll had to do was run the damn ball, and Tom Brady doesn't win another Super Bowl.
That doesn't count against his greatness. That just counts of somebody else's stupidity. And when you win championships, things like that happen for you.
But people act like it's because Tom Brady's sort of leadership or something. No, it was, does Tom Brady have the power to make opposing coaches do stupid things?
No, but we can go through every championship team and see something that happened. We go, why would y'all do that? We could do that in every situation. It's not Tom's fault.
I understand
He just benefited from it because he was good.
And I will say this, and this is where I'm going to be consistent, unlike a lot of people. I'm not saying
you're consistently
I am consistent. Is that even if Seattle would have ran it in and won, it was still a good fourth quarter comeback by Tom Brady regardless. The reason it gets so much credit is because Seattle did choke. I mean, even in the 6th Super Bowl that Tom Brady won, led his offense to a grand total of 13 points. Their defense held the Los Angeles Rams to 3. That's not Tom Brady. That's the defense.
All right, but the narrative, and I will admit this, people are lazy when it comes to the NFL. When a team wins, the quarterback gets way too much credit.
I agree.
Right.
When they lose, we look at that quarterback and say, we lost because of y'all.
Right.
I know it was 51-48, but you should have got 54 points.
I mean, a great example is this past Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. He did well more than enough to win, but the one thing he did do also was have that critical fumble. But he still, I think, did more than enough to make up for it. They just lost to a better team with an all-time great offense, all-time great quarterback.
Well, that special play, the special teams play killed him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That and things like that happen.
Well, and here's where I'll give Tom Brady a little bit of credit. That Super Bowl where they lost to the Eagles, where he threw for over 500 yards, led him to 33 points. That was not his fault. Some people give him sort of flack for fumbling that Brandon Graham strip, but he did more than enough to win. I'm saying, to me, it's more about performances. It's not about whether you won or not. That's where I don't think you can control as much in a football game.
You're putting too much on, like, I don't think it matters if you won or not. All that matters if you won or not.
Well, the perception, but you can play a great game and lose.
You can, but the end result is we don't remember second place. We remember who won. Like, nobody goes back and says, oh, wow, when the Rams had Kurt Warner, they beat who I don't even remember who they beat in the first Super Bowl they won.
The Titans.
They were 1 yard short.
Oh, yeah, yep. Kevin Dyson.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Hey, it's about winning, man. And Tom Brady does it better than anybody else.
And for the record, and I've said this before, to me, Tom Brady is overrated, but also the GOAT. Because you can't deny his accomplishments.
How can you be overrated?
Yeah, that's a tough
one. That's an oxymoron. How can you be overrated and the GOAT?
Let me explain. Because
Please do.
Because Tom Brady, obviously, the accomplishments that he's gotten, both team-wise and individual-wise, it's not – you can't deny that. I think the only person who has a chance to catch him is Patrick Mahomes, and he's well on his path, but he still has quite a ways to go.
Right.
But I think Tom Brady gets too much credit for the team's success. So you can still be the GOAT because of your accomplishments, but I don't want to hear about how they won all because of Tom Brady. That's where I sort of distinguish between overrated and the GOAT.
My head is swimming, really, because if you're the GOAT, you're going to get more credit than you deserve because you're the greatest of all time.
But
that's just the way it is.
But one of the things that sort of helped propel him into be the GOAT is because I think he got too much credit for team success. When you get 7 Super Bowls and you're a starting quarterback, like I said, I can discredit each individual moments, but I can't say that means nothing, obviously.
So are you giving him too much credit?
Shoot. I mean, I think I'm the only one who really is sort of breaking these narratives, but that's okay. I'll be alone on an island.
You are definitely alone.
He's the only one that knows what's happening. Out of billions of people in the world, he's the only one who knows what the real deal is.
Oh, yeah, and remember how Tom Brady had 2 game-losing turnovers overturned? I mean, one was the tuck rule and one was a D Ford offsides for the Kansas City Chiefs, and a play in which he had no impact on. That's luck. D Ford, what were you doing? Stay on side. The Chiefs could have won another Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes.
Dude, that's part of it. How many games do we watch and we see something happen and we go, dude, that was totally luck.
But
right?
that always seems to happen to Tom Brady, doesn't it? Just always.
When you're good.
All right, Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl for the LA Rams. Does he get credit for that?
So he gets – I see it more in sort of individual moments because obviously Matt Stafford had a very, very good playoff run. He also threw that should-have-been pick 6 to your old safety Jaquiski Tart that he dropped and maybe the San Francisco 49ers.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the Super Bowl.
No, we are. I brought it up. Does Matthew Stafford get credit for that Super Bowl win?
He gets credit, but he also wasn't Super Bowl MVP. Cooper Kupp was. I think that should be count against him in the slightest, but he played fine.
Even though he threw that ball that should have been intercepted.
In the NFC Championship, yeah. Because sometimes, like Lindsey said, you're going to get some lucky moments.
Yes.
It just happens to Tom Brady an awful lot.
Hey, when you're good, that's what happens.
You create your own luck.
There you go. That's why he's the GOAT.
But don't try to tell me that it's because of Brady's sort of voodoo magic or his leadership or something
Nobody
like that.
said it's voodoo magic. It's Brady. So take Brady out of the equation and put let's see what quarterback that we think is okay. I don't want a great quarterback. You put let's say our quarterback here in Detroit. Put him in those situations where Brady was in. They don't win any of those.
Not as much because obviously
as much. I don't think they win any.
I mean, maybe not. Jared Goff is obviously nowhere in the stratosphere of Tom Brady. I would never.
And I'm not even trying to compare the two. I'm just saying you can't say Tom Brady. You can't discredit his Super Bowls by saying, well, okay, the first 3 he was a game manager. He managed the game. They had good running backs. They had a great defense. He was groomed and became the GOAT.
Yeah,
but he did everything the right way to get to be the GOAT because he won those games. He didn't lose them.
No, and he has
because there are a lot of quarterbacks that lose those games.
And that's fair. He has insane longevity. He's obviously was great for many, many years, and that's why he's the GOAT. Before we go to break, actually, we got a minute. I have to respond to something in the chat. My old friend Chuck Brewer, who I have had many, many, many battles with on this show. So I got to come at you, Chuck. He mentions, and a lot of Brady fans use this retort, that he was actually unlucky during the David Tyree helmet catch game, which on surface sounds sound. But remember, that greatest offense ever with Tom Brady and Randy Moss at the peak of their powers scored 14 points against that Giants defense. That's not playing well enough to win. What he did in that 2017 Super Bowl where they lost 41-33 to the Eagles, that is playing well enough to win. 14 points with the greatest offense ever. That's not well enough to win. That's it.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. He's the GOAT, but he's overrated. All right. I've heard enough.
All right. Well, let's breathe for a second. Let's talk about Lady Jade's. I can talk about Lady Jade's where I get my haircut. Come to Lady Jade's for an award-winning experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Lady Jade's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community, giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Jumpin' Puck. Saturdays, 1 p.m. on woodwardsports.com.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward.
All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports.
Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Join the Woodward Sports family and 100,000 other sports fans for the biggest party for Detroit's home opener. We will be broadcasting live from the Grand Slam Festival at 350 Madison from the biggest tent party in the D. Or check in with Woodward Sports at the block party with the Brass Rail, Love, and Tequila and Annex. Baseball season is here. Specifically, Tigers baseball season is here, and there's only one city that can handle Woodward Sports. See you in Detroit for Tigers opening day.
Lindsey, I forgot to ask you, for Thursday for the Tigers home opener, are you wearing your Tiger hat, or are you going to abandon the Tigers already because they're 0-3, and they'll probably 0-6 by the time Thursday rolls around?
Well, let's hope they're not 0-6. Let's hope they squeak one out. But I'm going to wear my Tigers hat proudly. I have a couple of good Tiger hats too. I've collected over the years.
I always get a new Tiger hat for opening day.
Hey, good.
But I found one on the floor at home that I really like. I might wear that one. It's an orange one.
On the floor?
Yeah, it was on the floor. And I said, "Damn, I like this hat."
Yeah, you know what? I may go get me a new one. I'm gonna wear a Tigers hat. I'm gonna wear one. I'm gonna sport the big D. Boom.
Okay, I got one. I should have bought it. I was at this thing at the Eastern Market yesterday. I saw it was a Tiger hat and it said "What up, Doe" underneath it.
That's cool. You should have got that.
I should have got. Yeah, I would have been the only one wearing it.
Yeah, it'll be fun though. Yeah, it'll be fun.
No, opening day is always fun.
Yeah.
I think Detroit does it better than anybody else.
Yeah, it's a big party, man. I remember I went and I was like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be down, hanging out with flannel somewhere.
Be careful. You're gonna be down there.
I will be down there.
My only advice: don't get arrested. Enjoy opening day. Don't get arrested. Go home safe.
I can guarantee you flannel won't be getting arrested.
Okay. And I'm going to do my best not to end up in Canada.
Yeah, that's what we got to watch out for. Terry end up lost somewhere in Canada.
Yeah, because I never know where I'm going to end up. I just met at one opening day. It's 4 a.m. and I'm trying to get back into the United States.
That's funny.
So I was all messed up, but that's it. When is Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham going to get back together? Obviously next season. But do you think this would be one of the better backcourts in the NBA next year, or did they not have enough time to play together this year?
I think with Cade being out, it allowed Jaden to, immerse himself in the point guard position, where he, got better. He got better as the season. At the end of the season, he got better decision making. So I think that helps them a lot, because the two, they're different, but they kind of do some of the similar things. They both gonna have to have some ball handling.
Because I think a smart strategy would be at points of games not to play them together. Cade is going to be your starting point guard, but at some point in the game, okay, we're going to want to get this quicker. Let's pick up the pace, and then you have Ivey as your point guard, and then you rest Cade until he's ready to go back in. So it's just a change of pace, that it makes sense.
Right. And you see a lot of teams with two dominant players, two dominant ball handlers on the court do that a lot. They'll take one out and give him a break and let this guy kind of dictate the tempo, dictate the way the game goes. And I think they have that ability. And Ivey's a more of an up-tempo open court, guard. He does well in open court. He does well on the break and creating situations because he can get into the teeth of your defense before you blink an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he's athletic enough to get to the basket and finish, and he's been making better plays. He's been making the right decisions, and that's what we really wanted to see, his decision-making getting better. And especially in the half court. I've watched him, especially early on, coming off pick and roll, he struggled to make those reads. He turned the ball over a lot early on in the season, running pick and roll or executing in the half-court setting, but he got better as the season went on.
You bring up pick and roll. Mm-hmm. It's the great mystery in the National Basketball Association. Nobody can defend it. Pick and roll's been around for 50 years. Right. Nobody's figured out a way to defend this very simple play.
Right.
Which I don't understand. I remember one time the bad boy Pistons, they thought the Atlanta Hawks were the dumbest team in the league. So they ran a high pick and roll with Lambeer and Isaiah 9 times in a row. Probably scored like 7 or 8 times.
Right.
So Atlanta calls timeout. They're going to defend the pick and roll. So Chuck Daly, during the timeout, doesn't say a word. So then, players look around. We're going to do anything? So anyway, the horn sounds, and Chuck finally picks up and says, all right, pick and roll. Or high five. It was a high five. That was the name of the play. And they ran it again and scored again.
Well, see, Terry, here's the thing, though. It depends on who's running those pick and rolls.
Okay.
You got Isaiah Thomas and Bill Lambeer running pick and roll. That's a hell of a combination to try to stop.
Okay.
You got Joe Dumars on the wing. You got Vinnie Johnson on the other wing. Pick your poison.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That matters. That guard has to be able to make plays off that pick and roll, and that big has to be able to, if you got a big like Lambeer, that versatile, who can step out and shoot the three or roll to the basket and finish, it's unguardable.
Now, when you're a guard and you run the pick and roll, what are your options when you get the ball?
Well, I always teach guards so the first read is how the big is helping. Mm-hmm. So if the big steps out to hedge, then your big probably going to roll. Mm-hmm. So that's your first look is roll down the middle. If the roll guy's covered, that means the corner guy's helping. So that means the corner guy's going to shake up and he's open.
Okay.
So now you have 2 reads out the way already. Right? Now if the big stays back, which everybody now is in a drop, they call it drop coverage. When you see the big stay low and the guard's trying to force that guy down. Mm-hmm. So now as a guard, if you can score, you love the drop coverage because you're coming off the pick and you're attacking a big. And that, what you see guards destroy all the time. The little guard in the tournament from K-State annihilated the drop coverage. And I'm like, everybody kept playing and trapped the guy.
So you about the 5'2" guy?
Yes.
Clown State.
He annihilated the drop coverages every single time. So there's a lot to learn off playing pick and roll and the reads and stuff, but good guards really start picking it up and exploiting it, man. And as long as you got talented guards, nobody can guard. You can't stop pick and roll unless you just start trapping them and getting it out of his hands.
Right.
Which is what I would have did to the 5'2" guy.
Okay. All right.
I would have trapped him.
All right. I think this is the part of the show where we can ask questions to the legends. Lindsey is a legend. Now, you're the last time you were with the Pistons when you won the championship, you and Mike James were pit bulls.
Chisel.
You guys were pit bulls.
Pit bulls.
So,
I prefer Rottweilers, but
whatever you want to be.
Mike can be a pit bull. He's smaller than me.
Now, when you attack people, was there a strategy? Did you guys talk about or did you just go at them? How did that work?
Well, Mike and I, we would talk about it all the time. I would take the best ball handler because I knew he didn't want to handle the ball against me, and I would put Mike on the weaker ball handler. I'm like, if he gets the ball, then you destroy him. Right.
Right.
Just make his life miserable. So when we did that though, because we would go small a lot, we would it would be me, Mike, and Rip would be at the 3 or Tayshaun at the 3. or Rip at the 3, Tayshaun at the 4, with Sheed or Ben at the 5.
Right.
And people thought, it's crazy to hear other coaches say, yeah, we're getting ready for that trap you guys, that trap you guys run. And we're like, what are you talking about? We don't run no trap. We just do this.
Right.
You know?
Just like the Jordan rules never existed.
Right.
Right.
Right. So we would just pressure the ball, and Rip was so quick and fast, and it could anticipate, and Tayshaun was the same way. And then you got that shot blocker back there. We just gave teams hell. We never let you run your offense. We never let you run your offense.
I have to imagine that was a lot of fun.
Oh, man. Because Larry would be on the side, and he wouldn't say a word. He'd just look and go, do what y'all do.
Right.
And we trap, get people out of their offense, and get you going up and down. And by that time, we're up 20. And
okay. Now, were you part of the Larry Brown, Chauncey Billups, I don't want to call them battles, but education? When Larry Brown was, and Chauncey, man, he wasn't shy about, he would bitch about Larry Brown every day. But then at one point he said, now I'm a better player. What did Larry Brown do to Chauncey Billups?
Man, listen. We were playing, we were on a West Coast trip, and Chauncey had just had a triple-double.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
Great. And we were walking in the shoot-around, and Larry was looking at Chauncey saying, son, you have no idea how to play point guard, do you?
Wow.
And we all
triple-double.
And we all bust out laughing. And Chauncey just looked at him and shook his head. Man, I'm tired of this dude.
I know. I thought Chauncey was going to go on strike.
But honestly, he got the most out of Chauncey than any other coach. Because he stayed on him. He stayed on Chauncey. Chauncey wasn't going to give up that transition 3. I don't care what Larry said. Chauncey was going to shoot that transition 3. Larry hated it.
Right.
But he knew that's Chauncey at his best. Now, Chauncey going to listen and learn and do all the other stuff you want him to do, but that pull-up transition 3, man, he going to take that. You can forget that.
Why didn't he want him to shoot it?
Because that's Larry Brown.
He usually made it.
He don't like that. It's not the North Carolina way, man. We got to flatten the defense out and get the ball moving from side to side.
Right.
Chauncey wasn't studying that crap.
All right, I would love to hear you talk more about the Pistons, Lindsey. But first, we got to go to break, and coming back, just leave all the questions for the legends in the chat. I will see how many I can get to. But first, I got to tell you about Cintron. Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. Right now, they have an exclusive offer for Woodward sports fans for the limited edition Red Wings 6-pack, only $15 plus free shipping. Head to drinkcintron.com/Woodward and try it today. All 3 delicious Cintron flavors in one: classic sugar-free, and cranberry. That's drinkcintron.com/Woodward.
Hey, it's Sean Jordan from the Sports Marketing Agency. And SMA wouldn't be who we are without our amazing partners.
Thank you so much, Sean. At Detroit Wayne, we want to serve as a resource for you and your families. We offer mental health services, substance use disorder services throughout our communities, and we want to be that source and resource within the community.
If you or a loved one are suffering from a mental health or substance abuse issue, please don't hesitate to call 1-800-241-4949.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit.
But we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Get your customized approach to weight loss. Think of all the ways that weight loss affects your health, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Custom Health Centers is blessed to have had over 20,000 success stories. It has been their honor to help many professional athletes lose weight and improve their health. People like Detroit Lion Eddie Murray and Detroit Piston Rick Mahorn. Start losing weight today. Call Dr. Jason and Custom Health at 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-THIN.
Yeah, don't tell Rick Mahorn he's looking good. It's the worst thing you can do.
He's not. I'll tell him to his face, too. Can't catch me.
And I get a text from him now and then, just a middle finger.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. What is wrong? You know who else does that type of stuff? Rashid.
Yeah, I can believe that.
He'll just send me a bunch of curse words. I'm like, what? And then he'll be like, what's up?
Right.
What is wrong with you? See, someone asked me on this chat, if I could go pro in any other sport, what would it be?
I had a suggestion. You didn't like it.
No, I didn't like your suggestion.
You don't want to be a pro golfer?
No. But believe it or not, I can hit the golf ball straight. Now, I don't know how to do all the other stuff, but I can hit it straight.
Okay.
But, as far as like putting and all that, nah, I can't do that.
Anybody can hit it 10 yards straight.
No, I can hit it further than 10.
Okay.
I'm okay with like hitting it far, but I can't like putt and I can't like all the
Your short game is
I
jacked
can't do
up.
all that. Yeah.
So you can't win. But
it's like you can't win.
What pro sport, if not for basketball, would you have liked to play?
Definitely football.
Okay.
Definitely football.
Corner or wide receiver?
Either. I played both. I played started off as a running back and defensive back, and then I got moved to receiver. Then I got moved to quarterback, and I hated it. I didn't like quarterbacking back then because, when you're young, you don't have a good line. And
right.
I got probably 7 concussions in 2 practices.
You're running for your life.
Yes.
Pete Carroll, when he was with USC, he would just recruit running backs, bring them all in, and move like 6 of them to other positions.
Wow.
He liked running backs. He thought they were physical, he was strong, they were mentally tough. But if you were recruited as a running back at USC, chances are you weren't going to finish your career at running back.
Wow. It's kind of smart, though.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike some people want to change every black quarterback to something else.
Oh, God. I remember there was this dude back in the day, Mike Marshall. He played for Henry Ford in Detroit. This dude had a arm that was crazy. They were playing Cass Tech for the PSL title. This dude, Redford had the ball at the 15-yard line. He threw this pass that the receiver was covered, but he threw it, hit him at the 20. Right as he broke from the 30 to the 25, he became open. The ball was right there. And that was probably one of the best passes I've ever seen, college, pro, anything.
Right.
So he goes to Michigan State. Day one,
yep,
they switched him to defensive back.
Yep.
He was pissed.
Hey, should have went to HBCU.
Yeah, it should have been. He would have been quarterback somewhere.
Hey, it's funny because it's a kid from Pontiac. He went to Michigan as a quarterback from St. Mary's. Jermaine Gonzalez.
Right.
Remember Jermaine Gonzalez, flannel?
That one I'm missing that one. Jermaine Gonzalez.
You're not a true Michigan fan.
Oh, come on.
How could you not know Jermaine Gonzalez? He was a quarterback at St. Mary's.
Okay.
He had a receiver that ended up being a starting point guard at Michigan when who was the coach? Coach from Duke. He played at Duke.
Oh yeah, Tommy Amaker.
Tommy Amaker was there. These are Pontiac kids.
Mm-hmm.
So Jermaine Gonzalez was going to Michigan, and I kind of mentored Jermaine. He's actually the athletic director at St. Mary's now.
Okay.
So I was telling Jermaine, I was like, "Why are you going to Michigan? You're not gonna play quarterback there. It's like, come down to Jackson State. You'll be unbelievable." He was like, I'm gonna try it. Year later, tight end.
Mm. You ever try to get back with you about Jackson State?
I talked to him when I went out to St. Mary's to watch basketball. I'm like, he's like, yeah, I should have listened, because that was right around the time that was the quarterback from Alcorn played with Tennessee Titans.
Steve McNair.
That's when Aaron McNair was there. I was like, dude, you see what this kid is doing? And Jermaine was big. Jermaine's like 6'4", big guy, you know. I knew Michigan wasn't going to let him play quarterback. That's why they won't win a national championship.
He went to HBCU.
Yes.
They don't turn out a lot of NBA players. When did you know you could play in the NBA?
Well, I got invited to work the Michael Jordan camp. So you know,
Did you get paid?
I don't say we got paid, but we got so much gear.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about I had Jordans, I had jackets, leather bag. I had stuff that wasn't even out on the market. So we go up to the Jordan camp. So after camp, we play. And Scotty, Kendall Gill, Mike, BJ Armstrong, just a bunch of pros would come in. And we had some of the top college kids working it also. And so, you know, the first day there, man, we're playing. And me and BJ, you know, going at it. And I'm like, okay, this dude can't guard me.
So that's when you knew.
Yeah, I was like, this dude can't guard me. So they put Kendall Gill on. Kendall Gill was like, I got him. I was like, he can't guard me either. So my confidence went from like thinking to believing. And I end up that was going into my senior year, and I had an unbelievable senior year after that. But I give credit to that camp, me going there and playing with those guys. Just
so you got all swelled up.
Definitely. I came back home and like, dude, you dudes have no chance. I just went against some pros. And I'm going to just tell you, that's when I really understood how good Michael was.
Right.
Like, it was unfair. It was unfair how good he was in pickup. I was like, dude, I called my dad. I was like, I've never seen anything like it.
Well, I mean, even if you're a college player and Kendall Gill can't guard you, that's how you know. That's how you know that you're obviously an NBA player coming from Jackson State. So you can do it. Walter Payton did it as well in football. Yep. But, yes, it is now 1 o'clock. Thank you guys for filling in. Terry Foster, Lindsey Hunter. It was a pleasure to do a show with both of you.
Great day, great day.
And Jerry Rice did it, too.
Hey, Jerry Rice, absolutely. I forgot where he went.
Lem Barney.
Yeah, Lem Barney.
That's right.
Yeah, Grand Valley wasn't Jerry. Where did
no,
Jerry Rice go?
Mississippi Valley.
Mississippi Valley. My bad.
Grand Valley is not HBCU.
Obviously, that is in Michigan. You know what? Forget that last misstep. I think that is a good way to end the show. For Terry Foster, for Lindsey Hunter, for Alex Westfall, for myself, Flannel Sam. We will see you tomorrow on Big D Energy. Darren McCarty and Neil Rule will be back. See you tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Peace.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.